Happy Thursday. Mm, Happy Thursday. I'm just sharing my link out right quick. Happy Thursday. I hope my comments show up this live because they have not been showing up on the last couple of lives until later. Okay. Let's see. Where my notes set? I think something wrong with my comment section. Oh well. Okay. So tonight is episode 8. Healing in real life, healing in real time. So when people think about healing, they often think about like, okay, like I did this one thing and now it's all good, it's all great. And in real life, healing is messy. It's not linear. It happens in layers and it shows up in unexpected moments. So in the middle of everyday life, the hard days, in your regular routines. And so tonight we're gonna talk about why you shouldn't be, what's the word I want to use? You shouldn't feel bad about your progress even when it's messy. And don't be so focused on looking healed, but be focused on being healed. Okay. So that's what we'll be talking about tonight. And so I'm just going to jump right in it. The first point that I'm going to talk about is titled Healing is Messy, Not Linear. So healing is not a straight road. It's not a straight line. It's like this. I tell you guys this all the time. It's not linear. And it's not, oh, I forgave once and now I'll never feel that pain again. That's not how healing works. In real life, you can feel peace and you still can be triggered the next day. That's how healing works. And that doesn't mean you failed. It just means healing is happening in layers. Healing unfolds in layers. It's not a one-time shot, okay? So every time something surfaces, it's an opportunity for God to work on it. So like the example that I gave, like, oh, I forgave them, and I feel fine. And then you find out you're not fine. You get triggered. That's just God working on it in a different way. So progress doesn't erase pain. It just teaches you how to handle it better. That's what healing is about. It does not mean that the pain didn't happen, that you didn't go through what you go through. It just teaches you how to handle it better. Healing reveals new layers over time, not all at once. And a lot of people get it confused because, like I said in the beginning, they just think all of this healing is going to happen at one time, and it doesn't. Like, healing unfolds over a period of time. And just because you have a setback does not mean that your growth is canceled. They just highlight where you've already gotten stronger. So I'll give you an example. Like I was using earlier, you forgive someone, but when their name comes up, you still feel the sting again. That's not failure. That's just another layer God is ready to heal. Set my notes up there. So how you can work through that is to not shame yourself. Remind yourself that it's normal. Pray in the moment. Ask God to help you release the layer. 2, ask God to help you get through your triggers. Also journal the triggers so you can recognize the patterns, because once you recognize the patterns, then you'll be able to maneuver through that properly, and it will progress with your healing. Also, give yourself permission to process instead of pretending it didn't hurt. When it comes to healing, a lot of people like to pretend that it didn't hurt, and all you're doing is just faking it. So that's why you'll end up in the same situations, keep going through the same things, because you're pretending that it didn't happen when it really did. So you have to give yourself permission to process instead of pretending that it didn't hurt. Also, if you've ever thought you were over something until a situation brought it back up, drop a me in the chat, because we've all been there. We'll think that we're over something and we're not. And just because we're not over it, it just means that we still have a little bit more work to do. And we just need to take our time with processing through it, right? So the next key point that I will talk about is life keeps happening while you heal. Like I said, people expect healing to feel like a break from life, but the truth is, life doesn't pause. Life keeps going. Like, life goes on. The bills still come, the job still gonna stress you out, the kids gonna be working your nerves, people still gonna test your patience. Healing doesn't stop these things from happening. It just gives you the strength, it just gives you the strength and wisdom to handle them differently, right? Healing equips you for life. It doesn't exempt you from life. I'm gonna say that again. Healing will equip you for life, but it doesn't exempt you for life. Challenges test your growth, and they reveal how far you've come or where you're still at, right? Old triggers can appear in new situations, but your response shows progress. This is the big thing. Like, you can constantly be triggered. And I'm just going to be honest. You're going to be triggered throughout life, but how you respond to that shows where your healing is. Because God will put you in situations. God will give you a test just to see if you have learned that lesson. So it's just like, if you haven't learned it per se, until you master the lesson, it'll keep repeating itself. So your response, how you handle it, shows your progress when an old trigger in a new situation, a new season, a new level comes. So an example would be like, let's say you set a boundary. You've been practicing having boundaries with people, but somebody pushes your boundaries back. Real life healing means you choose to stand firm instead of folding like you did before. Like, you said what you said. This is what's not going to happen. This is what's going to happen. Regardless of what happens, you're still stuck firm on what you said, instead of letting the situation make you fold, make you react a different way, make you react the old way. That will be an example. So you will stay calm and you won't match their energy. You will repeat your boundary, but with firmness. And also, you have to remind yourself that protecting your peace is not disrespect. Because a lot of people, like, when you start to protect your peace, the people who was causing you chaos like to make you feel bad and try to say like you disrespecting them and all types of stuff. But remind yourself that protecting your peace is not disrespect. Protecting your peace is a part of life, right? And just afterwards, just thank yourself and be proud of yourself for not backing down and not folding and not bending on your boundaries, because boundaries are very important. You need to have them throughout life with everybody. Like, that's really the only way that you gonna get to the places that you need to be at. You gotta have boundaries. So I got a question. Has anyone's healing ever been tested in real life? Put the little hand up emoji if that's you, if you know what I'm talking about. Like, your healing over time has been tested in real life. And that should be everybody, because I could throw my hand up for that too. So number 3 would be healing shows up in small, consistent choices. I think I talked about this last week or one of the other lives. Don't try to look for one big breakthrough moment. That's not how healing works. Real life healing is built on small daily choices. Daily. And I keep saying it, daily. Healing is a lifestyle. This is something that you have to do every single day. You don't do it one time. You don't do it for a month. You don't do it for 3 months. You have to make the conscious effort to heal. It's in how you respond when you're tested. It's in the words you speak of yourself. It's in the quiet prayers that you pray instead of spiraling. Those small choices add up and shift your life over time. I don't care what they say. You can't, my mama tells me this about other stuff that don't have nothing to do with healing, but you can't despise a small beginning. So it's the same thing. You have to start somewhere, and it's going to be small. Thinking that you're going to just be over a situation the next day, sorry to burst the bubble, it don't work like that. Healing is choosing differently even when it's hard, because it's going to be hard. Regardless, it's going to be hard. You just have to choose something different. Small steps compound into transformation. It's just like you don't get all the way to the top floor. The elevator has to take its time to go up, but it doesn't just shoot all the way up, right? Don't minimize, like I just said, don't despise a small beginning. I wrote that down. Don't minimize what looks small. That's where the growth is. A lot of your growth is going to come from the small stuff. And then you'll be able to see over time, like, dang, like, I really did change. I really did get over it. I really did handle that a different way. So an example that I wrote down, something that used to make you explode, set you off, make you go off, it now makes you pause and take a breath. That's growth. Even if it doesn't feel dramatic, it's the fact that you can recognize that situation and take a breather and not say nothing, right? So you will be able to celebrate that you didn't go off on somebody, that you didn't get into their tail like you normally would have, right? You use that pause to just pray, take a breather, or step away. Because we have to learn over time that we can't be matching energy. Like, why would you want to match somebody's energy who's operating on a level below you? Like I said, it takes work. But once you can get to that step, that means you have matured. You don't fight fire with fire, right? So over time, the pause, like when you take that pause, it will grow longer and it'll be stronger. Like I said, you won't react the same way at all anytime somebody ticks you off. Now, if somebody do tick you off, it doesn't mean, if you do respond in a negative way, it doesn't mean that you haven't been growing. It just means it's a trigger, like we talked about in the beginning, and it still needs work. God still has to work with you in layers to kind of have you handle that situation better. So when something like that happens, you can write down the moments so you don't forget how far you've come. So number 4 would be real life forgiveness. Did I do no, I didn't do a live on forgiveness, but I will. Real life forgiveness looks different than we imagine. Okay. Forgiveness is not a one-time decision, and it's not going to erase the pain. And it doesn't always mean reconciliation. I actually have a video on my page, and I talk about forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. Forgiveness means you're releasing someone from the power that they have over you. The power that they have over your peace, right? Sometimes you'll still feel the pain, but you don't carry it the same way anymore. That's what healing in real life is. Forgiveness is a part of healing. And I'm just going to say this now. A lot of the things that you go through sometimes have a deep root of unforgiveness. If you do not forgive who hurt you, you are going to have a very hard time. The enemy is always going to have an open door and access to you simply because you have unforgiveness. Unforgiveness turns into bitterness. It turns into resentment. Unforgiveness is just something that you don't want to carry around. So forgiveness is releasing. It's not forgetting. You'll never forget, but you need to forgive. And you can forgive without putting yourself back in harm's way, right? Forgiveness does not mean like, oh, I forgive you and then I continue to deal with you again. That's not what that means. Because most of the time, if you forgive somebody, if they have not done the heart posture transformation that they need to do, you're just going to go through the same thing over and over. Because they actually have a heart posture thing that they have to work on that transforms them. So understand that you can forgive somebody without putting yourself back in harm's way. Forgiveness is for you. It's not for them. It frees you, not them. Because while you're walking around being while you are walking around carrying an unforgiveness in your heart, that person is just going on with their life. So understand, forgiveness is for you. It frees you, not them. So an example would be, you may never be close with the person who betrays you. Y'all may never talk again. But you can stop letting what happened to you consume your thoughts every night, because that gives them power over you, right? That's why forgiveness is for you to release them, because when you don't, they have a power over you. So that release is real healing. You can pray blessings over them, over your mind, over your body, over your soul. It breaks resentment's hold. You don't never want to get resentment towards somebody, because that'll make you start to hate people. That's where unforgiveness starts. For how do you forgive? So I'm going over that now. So like I wrote down, you will pray. You got to pray for God to heal your heart, for one, because unforgiveness is a heart posture thing. And unforgiveness is like a root. If you don't get rid of that root, you're going to go through life having a hard time. And then it's like you block your blessings because you are carrying unforgiveness towards somebody. So first of all, pray over it. Ask God to heal your heart, because you don't want that unforgiveness to turn to resentment, to turn into hate. You don't want that. You'll set boundaries so you're not re-exposed to the same harm. You don't have to call somebody up. Let's say you don't have to call the person up and tell them that you forgive them. A lot of the times your forgiveness may come in a secret place with God. It's between you and God. It's not really between you and that person. Because like I said before, if that person has not had a heart posture change, it's basically like you just telling them something and then they'll continue to do what they already done. If they haven't had a heart posture change. So when I've had to go through things, I really don't tell people unless they have a heart posture change, and I know that they have a heart posture change. That's because I'm connected to the source, so I kind of know when people do the work. So most of the time, I just will forgive people in a secret place with God. That's how I'll get through it. So like I said, you'll set the boundaries so you're not re-exposed to the same harm. When thoughts come, remind yourself, I choose peace and not the replay. Remind yourself that you choosing peace and you're not going to be a prisoner to unforgiveness. Okay? And if you need to, this is a good one. You can write a letter to the person, not send it to them. You can write the letter saying, hey, I forgive you so-and-so for doing this, this and that, this caused me, blah, 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 blah. You can write a letter down and you don't have to send it to the person. Please don't send it to the person. Like I said, if they have not had a heart posture change, you're wasting your time. Sometimes that's another way on how you can learn to forgive somebody. You can write it down, pray over your heart, ask God to heal your heart, set the boundaries when you come into contact with other people so you will not put yourself back in harm. And then when the thoughts come, just affirm yourself that you choose peace and not like to be a prisoner of unforgiveness. So, do y'all find forgiveness easy or do you find it hard? If you find it easy, drop easy in the chat. If you find it hard, drop hard in the comments. So number 5 will be gentle with yourself. I've been saying this over the course of the 8 episodes that you have to learn how to give yourself grace when you're healing. You have to be very gentle with yourself, because sometimes we get frustrated and we think we should be somewhere, further along than we are. And we just have to understand, like I said, healing is a process and it takes time and it takes consistent work. It doesn't happen overnight. You're not going to get a big shebang breakthrough. I'm just here to tell you that I've been on my healing journey since 2020, right? Healing doesn't always have a deadline. It unfolds in God's timing, because to really be on a true healing journey, you have to be on it with God. If you do not have God in your healing journey, it's going to keep you in bondage. I'm going to just be honest. Because sometimes the healing that you have to go through, a therapist cannot give you all the tools that you need to fight the things that you're going through. Some of that stuff is generational. Sometimes you attracting people in your life simply from what's on your bloodline. But some therapists not going to tell you that. And even if they do tell you that, they don't have the necessary tools to help you get through it. So faith and strategy go together. You need to have God in your healing process. But go back to what I was saying. about being gentle with yourself and understanding that healing happens over time. And don't be so upset. Don't be so hard on yourself because it's taking you a little bit longer. Somebody might already be healed. They might already done their work. You can't compare your journey to somebody else's, because when you do that, that only slows you down. So number one, do not rush your healing. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, a lot of people like to rush their healing and shortcut their healing. You're gonna be back at square one. Every time you try to take the easy way out of something hard, you're going to that just threw me off. Somebody calling me. What was I saying? Sorry. So I said don't try to rush your healing, because anytime you take a shortcut and you try to take the easy way out of something hard, it's going to put you right back to square one. So imagine doing all of this work and then trying to take a shortcut or trying to rush it, and you have to start all the way over. This is literally how life works. That's why it's important to be obedient and stop procrastinating and stop avoiding the hard things. Because when you don't, you keep setting yourself back. It's literally like there's chains on your feet and you can't go but so far. So understand, you cannot rush your healing. You cannot take a shortcut. You're going to have to do the work. Respect the pace. Okay? Your process is unique to you. Like I spoke on earlier, do not compare your healing journey with somebody else. God values your surrender more than he does your speed, because a lot of people be going nowhere fast. Just tell you that now. What I've learned on my healing journey, it's more important for you to be in alignment than about whether you're going to get to this destination by this age and by this time. Having timelines on stuff you're going to have a hard time. You need to be focused on your surrender more than your speed. Example, one of your friends might have went through a heartbreak. They might have bounced back quickly than you did. Your process is yours. God is shaping you differently, and that's okay. Everybody goes through things and deals with things in a different way. So you always have to keep that in mind. Also, if you have those thoughts and you be like, oh, I should be further along, or all of that type of stuff, just replace that and say, I'm right where I need to be. And I'll say that again. Replace I should be further along with I'm right where I need to be. So again, focus on your progress, not your speed. Your progress is the only thing that matters. When you're doing the work, you're going to always land where you're supposed to be, right on time, as long as you're doing the work. And you always need to be thanking God for carrying you through your process. You are going to need God to get through a lot of things. Everything, honestly, if you just be honest. If you don't have God at the head and in the center of everything you do, it's going to bleed into other areas of your life. That's what she believes it's about, is to help you get in alignment with God. So, if you need to give yourself more grace in this season, type in grace in the chat. You always have to give yourself grace. So number six is we celebrate small wins. Always celebrate yourself. A small win, celebrate it. So a lot of people tend to wait until everything is fixed and everything is blase to celebrate. But healing is worth celebrating along the way. Every step forward matters, right? Don't try to wait till you get to the destination and then try to celebrate. Every step matters. Every time you pause instead of reacting, that matters. Every time you pray about something before you make an impulsive move, or when you're panicking, that matters. Every time you journal instead of lashing out, that's a win. Celebration builds momentum. Recognizing small wins helps you stay encouraged. Wins remind you how far you've come, even when you don't feel like it. And I used to struggle with that sometimes. Sometimes I'll just be feeling like I ain't really done nothing. But when you look back, I'll be like, oh, dang, like I got through a lot. Example, like I said, you could journal like your frustration instead of blowing up at someone. This happened to me about a month ago. I almost went off on somebody. I almost pulled up, but you know, I just had to talk to like somebody that I really trusted, and you know, to kind of keep me grounded in that moment, because I was just finna have one of those moments, and I was gonna tell God that I was just gonna handle it, right? Sometimes I'd be like, God, you better get them before I do. So like I literally had to go and write that down in my journal. So that was a win, because I chose my growth over a reaction, because I knew that my reaction would just been the enemy just trying to get me to fall in a trap, and it just would have blew up, and it just would have been a whole mess. So I acknowledge that win. I acknowledge that I didn't take it there, because I could have took it there. So like I said, when I said I shared it with a friend, I wrote down share it with a trusted friend or write it down. And let those small wins remind you healing is happening daily, right? Use it as fuel to keep going when healing feels slow. Because healing is going to feel slow. It's going to feel, like I said, it's going to feel like you ain't nothing happening. But I promise you it is. Like for me to be 5 years in, yeah. So, journal prompts. I always give journal prompts before I get off live. So number 1 would be, what's one recent moment that showed you're healing if it seems small? What's one recent moment that showed you're healing even if it seems small? Number 2 would be, where did you notice a trigger lately? And how could you respond differently next time? I always give y'all these journal prompts, because these journal prompts are going to help you. They're going to help you. They're going to help you see where you've fallen short at. It's going to hold you accountable. I'm doing a 30-day challenge, journal challenge with a few ladies who bought the journal. And I gave them, we got some really good prompts for the rest of October, to the point where, because I'm doing the journal too, the journal challenge too. And today on day 2, it was a very good journal prompt. So I said all that to say is you need to be writing stuff down. So number 2 was, where did you notice a trigger lately, and how could you respond differently next time? Number 3 would be, what's one way you can give yourself grace in your healing this week? Number 4, write a note to your past self acknowledging how far you've come. So understand that healing in real life, it doesn't look perfect. It's not going to be perfect. It takes persistence, it takes grace, and it takes faith. And it takes time. Again, every small choice matters. Every moment of surrender matters. And God is proud of you for showing up. Showing up is the key. If you could show up for a job, you could show up for yourself. Right? Even if it's hard. Even if you have a setback. Showing up for yourself is going to get you to the places that you're trying to go. It's going to get you the healing that you want to have. It's going to get you the breakthrough that you seek. You have to show up for yourself. So don't discount your progress just because it doesn't feel perfect. Like I said, it's not going to feel perfect in the beginning. It might take you a year for you to even feel like you're doing something. Right? When I first started on my transition, when God had set a point in time that this is what we was going to do. When I was going through that was like the hardest thing at the time. It was so much unfolding and stripping of layers and dying to self that I had to do. It didn't feel good. But in 2025, I don't even know what to say. I'm a whole different type of person from back then. Right? So don't discount the slowness. If it's going to hurt, it's going to be messy. It's going to be messy. There is beauty in the struggle. Okay? You are healing. Healing, like I said, healing is just something that you got to want to do. It's not going to just, how do I say it? Healing is not something that, I don't know. Healing, like I said, healing is just something that you have to want. That's just something that you have to want to do. You have to want to be better. You have to want to break generational curses. You have to want to be free. You have to want that, because nobody is going to give it to you. Nobody is coming to save you. And I hate to sound however that sounds, but that's just the God honest truth. Nobody is coming to save you. You have to show up and do the work. You have to. You have to learn how to set boundaries. You have to learn how to say no. You have to learn how to forgive. You have to learn how to move forward. You have to learn how to keep going. Because life gonna life. And even if life is life, and you still gotta show up regardless. So I hope this word blessed somebody tonight. The topic was healing in real time, healing in real life. That's what it looks like. It's not gonna be a straight line. It's not gonna be easy. It's gonna be hard. Healing is probably one of the hardest things that I ever did in my life. But I'm so proud of myself because I can teach people things that I had to go through on my journey. Like, that was just a part of my assignment. I had to learn how to heal. I couldn't run from it, right? And I'm not one of those people. When I go through something, I sit with it. I sit with myself. I don't take shortcuts. I don't try to find an easy way out of it. I take all the pain and I turn that pain into power. I'm just one of those people. So it's just like, you got to sit with it. It happened. But just because it happened don't mean it's the end of the world. And that doesn't have to be your story. It's a part of your story, but it does not have to be your whole story, right? It does not have to be your identity. I don't tie my identity to things that happened to me in the past. And I think I talked about this last week. I did. On becoming her after the hurt. A lot of people tie their identities to what broke them. Excuse me. And I'm going to make a live on that alone, like I said, and it's going to be about finding your identity in Christ, right? Because you find your identity in Christ when you heal. You do. Healing is going to be the only way that you really figure out who you really are. Who you really are and what you really want in life. Healing is the only way you're going to find that out. So until you do the work, you're always going to be attaching yourself to titles and labels and this and that, when that's not who you are, unless that's what you choose to be. But until you do the work is when you'll see a breakthrough. Is when you will put yourself in alignment. Alignment is important, and you got to have it. So that's my TED Talk for tonight. Let me see if I got any comments. No, I don't have no comments. So I don't think anybody has any questions, unless somebody has any questions. If not, and I think I hit everything on my notes that I wrote down today. Yep. So, before I go, I always talk about my journal. So, if you have not gotten yours, go get yours. Go start your healing journey. You have accountability worksheets in here. You have letters in here. You have all types of different worksheets. They're going to help you. You also have affirmations and quotes that will feed your spirit. This is a belief prayer journal. And if you do not want to be transformed, if you don't want to heal, then this might not be the journal for you. This is for the people who want to do the work, right? So click the link in my bio to get your journal. Also, if you haven't gotten a prayer book, you need help praying, you don't know how to pray, you want to build your relationship, you want to make it stronger, My prayer book is also in my link. So click the link in my bio and get the tools that you need that will assist you in your healing journey. So I will talk to you guys next week. Next week it will be episode 9. And I gotta figure out about episode 9. Episode 9 might be about triggers. So I will see you guys next week, next Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.